Hello again, everyone, and welcome back. I am Gary Gatto, and this is RaceVerse coverage of Round 4 of Season 2 of 22 of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series, coming to you from Spa for the, get this, Shane's Midwest Kidney Warriors Spa Vacation Grand Prix. Joining me for expert analysis in the booth, he's my partner from our Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split coverage. He is from the NHR Esports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by Butt Kicker. Please welcome Stephen Larkamp. So, Stephen, we're at another historic Formula One track. I should just probably tell you to go, and you'll tell me all about it. So, go.
Hello and bienvenue, everybody. Welcome to the track that you talk to any sort of road racer that has made the rounds on iRacing, they will tell you this track is, if not their favorite, it's certainly in their top 5, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in the beautiful Ardennes forest of Belgium. This track, of course, has a history dating back to the 1920s when, of course, it was a very fearsome road circuit made up of public roads, no less. And now the permanent facility we have here, dating back to the late 1970s, is still a fast-flowing track that harkens back to those good old days. And at 4.3 miles, 7 kilometers in length, this is the biggest Formula One track, physically speaking. And more often than not, Spa-Francorchamps, it doesn't matter what car it is, it always puts on fantastic racing and fantastic high-speed action. This is one of the fastest tracks in F1. There's so many places to pass here, and there's a lot of chances for drama, especially in some of the famous corners that just ring off like a who's who of famous corners on any racetrack. Eau Rouge, Radillon, Pouhon, Blanchimont, Stavelot, the bus stop chicane, you name it, those are likely going to be, you're going to find them here in the Ardennes. This track, of course, Of course, more famous in Formula One circles, and lap times here are about 15 seconds faster compared to what we're seeing tonight. The current provisional pole right now, Ricardo Echevarria's number 027 has a 156.316. So, and for equal qualifying efforts, a Formula One car in, especially last year, of course, F1 cars were faster last year than they are now. But they were able to get around here in around a minute 40. But even then, that is still a very long lap that you have to face here. And of course, with the difference of the slow speed corners, the high speed straights, and even the high speed corners here at Spa, it really puts a smile on the driver's face almost without fail anytime they go around here.
Yeah, that's right. The unofficial track record, because we go by that because, once again, they always go by the official track record is what they turn in the race. We go by what they qualify here because that's what we can easily compare to. Lewis Hamilton, 2020, and as mentioned, a time of 141.252. IndyCars have never raced here other than in simulation form. So stand by in the garage area, though. It's almost time to go racing. With that, we look at tonight's starting lineup. But before we do, hey, Steven, would it surprise you at all that less than half of everybody watching tonight are not subscribers?
Sacre bleu, is that true?
Well, that's true. According to YouTube Analytics, 50.3% of you now. So it's actually gone up. Are not subscribers. So let's change that right now. If you are not a subscriber, help us on our drive to 1,000. If you enjoy RaceVerse coverage of the Monday, not the Monday. If you enjoy coverage of the Monday and Tuesday coverage we do here on RaceVerse or the Formula Indy Series and respect the stream, please do us a solid and make sure you support us by subscribing. We have less than 110 subscribers to go to get to the magical 1,000 mark. So help us by hitting that subscribe button right now. We cannot get there without you. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on more future RaceVerse iRacing broadcasts. We have a lot of them. So now let's get into it in Belgium as we just went zeros on the board. So we have a lineup.
And 39 cars, 40 cars, I should say, actually. We had a late joiner from Matthew Nicholson. Sadly, he will not make the cut. 5 drivers will be bumped out of this grid, and on the pole for this one, Ricardo Echevarria, his first pole of the season his first start, it would seem, in this series.
1 for 1, yeah.
A 156.316, fantastic effort for the rookie in a series that seems to quite favor the rookies, though maybe not in one way. We'll get to that in a second. Alongside him on the front row will be the 28 of Nick Johnston in P2. 156.4 for him. Row 3 would be Mitch Welker in the number 76, the championship leader by a handful. But sadly, after an incident and towards the end of the previous race of the Nürburgring, he will be forced to start from pit road. He posted a qualifying time because it would allow him to compete tonight in any case. And who would be on row 2 is Doriano Ricciuti in a return to the series in the number 14. Row number 3 will be Simon Sykes, another newcomer in the number 84, a rookie. Alongside him, another rookie, the 62 of Angel Ledesma. Row 4 will be Robert Sadler's number 6, alongside Liam Quinn in the number 24. Rounding out your top 10 on row 5 will be Danilo Piazza in the number 56, alongside the 21 of Caleb Bensi. Row number 6, Jose Ramirez in the number 75, alongside the 81 of AJ Digby in his series debut. Cody Claiborne will start as number 31 in 13th on row 7. Alongside him, the return of Byron Daly in the number 90. Let's see what the former NASCAR ace turned IndyCar ace has up his sleeve tonight. Row 8 will be Michael DeTurk in a rough qualifying effort from him in the number 40. Alongside him will be the 35 of Matthew Short. Row 9 will be Pedro Quinones in the number 796. And alongside him, another rough qualifying run is the 77 of Bruno Miranda, usually very quick, but not quite enough tonight. Frankie Franciccia in the number 96 will start 19th, and rounding out the top 20 will be the 33 of Cristobal Valenzuela. Armando Edwards in the number 74 will start 21st on row 11. Alongside him will be the 25 of Jeff Groff. Jordan Erickson will be 23rd. Matt Houston 24th. Row 13, Dakota DeMaid in the 82, and Jose Correa's number 87. Row 14, Victor Aldrich in the 98, alongside the 3 of Logan Spath. Row 15 will be Doug Mullins in the 18, alongside the 112 of Joshua Tucker, rounding out your top 30. Almost lost track for a second. Row number 16, Christian Jaspers, number 44, alongside the 117 of Jake Kitts in his first start. Row 17 will be Drew White and Zachary Reardon, the 15 and the 64. And shotgun on the field of all the drivers who have made the cut is the 4 of Daniel Micklin, Justin Friedel in the 08, Peter Donchak in the 57, the 369 of Alexander Poteet, Doug South's number 37, and Matthew Nicoson's number 07 have failed to make the cut. And as we...
Yeah, we should mention, Drew White will be starting from the pits. I don't think he is in this lineup. Drew White is in the lineup, but the next driver, Austin Delgado, supposed to be starting for the pits. Don't see him in the lineup. Jose Ramirez, do not see in the lineup. That should be starting for the pits. Mitch Welker will be starting from the pits. Not in the lineup tonight is Alex Vanisant, I believe. He is due to start from the pits, and Kevin Rivera also to start from the pits. And most of those names I do not see. So starting from the pit road might actually be not bad of a disadvantage once again with a limited traffic for Mitch Welker.
It could well be, and especially since turn 1 here at Spa-Francorchamps, La Source it's called, the right-hand hairpin at the start here. It has something of a reputation of first lap kerfuffles, and no better exemplify than in 2012 when Romain Grosjean and Lewis Hamilton had a issue here at the Belgian Grand Prix and caused an almighty wreck. And it's carried over in spades in the virtual world. Hopefully for their sake we can get it through clean. But with 35 cars on the grid, there is going to be no margin for error.
And it's time to go racing here. So we'll get tonight's starting lineup call, of course, done by Stephen Larkamp, and he will call the opening lap here at Spa as soon as we get to go green, and it is grid up time.
Everybody heading to the grid. It'll be probably so far enough that a lot of the guys at the back of the field will have to start in the middle of the bus stop chicane. That is how big a field we have tonight as Echevarria takes his grid spot. Everyone coming in one at a time, waiting to see everyone line up here.
There is our pull center. Great camera angle provided for.
As everyone
still lining up,
slowly but surely getting there, and everyone going through their last minute adjustments to see if everything's in the right place. Of course, Mitch Welker and of course, as you mentioned, Mitch Welker and Drew White, they will be starting from pit road. So we are going to run down to the full countdown.
Oh, Jose Ramirez is in the lineup, and he is starting from pit road. So he is in the lineup. So that's 3 cars starting from pit road. We're getting ready to go.
Revs come up. We're underway in Belgium. Looks like a great launch in the middle of the field for the 62 of Ledesma, but it's Echevarria that leads the way into turn 1. Side by side, Ricciuti and Johnston. Johnston forced way out. Oh, contact there in the middle pack.
Liam Quinn. Oh, Liam Quinn. We got Miranda in there. We got one of the RaceVerse cars, which is Logan Spath. A whole number of cars all bungled up there in turn 1.
So easy for that to happen. Multiple cars involved in it, but it's Echevarria who leads the way. And look at this start from Angel Ledesma.
Something's wrong with Nick Johnson. Something wrong with Nick Johnson. Is he giving up time or what?
Nick Johnston slowing down. Did he get a penalty? I wonder if he got a slowdown penalty. Oh, almost a...
Sights might have had a penalty as well. We were watching him come up the hill. And look who's also getting their nose in there is... that is the Fish car.
Yep, look at this. Cody Claiborne. Fantastic start for the Fish car. But Johnston dropping back a couple of spots there. And look at the start now for Simon Sykes. Right behind Johnston. But looking at everything, Echevarria still leads the way, and Riccioli up to P3, Ledesma to P2.
Yeah, Ledesma up four spots for him. Nick Johnson down 2. The big gainer right here, P8. Let's find him right here on the camera. This is Frankie Franchitta, up 11 spots. Go a little bit further back in P11. Let's pan out here and get you a car to look at. Jordan Erickson in that Team Penske livery, but with his own sponsors on it. He's up 12 spots. And Dakota the Maid right back here in 14th, up 11.
Fantastic start by all of them. And looking at Franchitta as they head through the bus stop for the first time, it is going to be Echevarria leading the way. 29 laps to run here. Echevarria over Ledesma, Riccioli. Nick Johnston has lost 2 spots down to P4. Piazza up 4 spots to P5. And by now he's under pressure from the 84 of Simon Sykes holding on to his spot. And the Fish car of Cody Claiborne into P7. Franchitta in 8th. Short, Quinones rounding out your top 10. And 1.9 seconds is the margin right now between Ledesma and Echevarria in the race lead. And keeping an eye on, of course, our championship leader and the winner of the last 3 races in a row, Mitch Welker. He's already up to 15 after starting on pit road.
Yeah, it's like I said, a pit road. It might have been an advantage with the way that everybody got bound up at the exit of turn 1 there.
And Welker starting off this race on the soft compound tire as there's a lot of a lockup in front of him as he's battling with Dakota DeMay, Jeff Groff, and Cristobal Valenzuela in front of him as he's going to have a look to the inside of DeMay going into Pujol. Not quite there yet.
Actually, he's already by DeMay. That is Jeff Groff. That is Jeff Groff and 2 similar-looking orange cars. Now you got Groff and Ericsson racing each other inside of Groff, getting the pass done. They're on the back portion of the racetrack right now.
And Welker moves up and now challenging. Now challenging
Ericsson.
Jordan Erickson in that Romain Grosjean-esque scheme from what I am seeing, or the old Ryan Hunter race scheme perhaps. But now Welker trying to have a look on the outside at Blanchimont. Not exactly a great place to make a pass there. Welker is starting this race on the soft tire, and a lot of the people around him are on the hards. These are his laps to make up a lot of time there as Ericsson forces him right there on the exit of the bus stop.
He was giving him no inches there, and now he's going to race him down the straight in the 1. He's got position. But you can get a good exit off of 1 if you get a good braking point. It looks like he missed his braking point a little bit. Opened himself up to Groff. Groff's going to drag up next to him here as we go up into Eau Rouge. But it looks like Mitch Welker is clear and has worked his way up to P12 now.
Fantastic start by Mitch Welker.
And we have a pass for P2. Pass for P2. Dory is around Ledesma, coming up into the chicane at the top of the hill.
Riccioli in the old dogs machine. Getting around Ledesma. Ledesma not giving up, though. He's looking to the outside. And not quite enough there. Can he get the run, though? Let's see if he can get the run coming out of the corner that for the longest time has had no name. And then down towards Pujol. Ledesma, is he going to have a peek? It's definitely a hairy place to make a pass. Not quite enough, though. Ledesma still in the wheel tracks there. I don't think this battle is going to be calming down anytime soon.
Yeah, Nick Johnson is like, how close do I get? Nick Johnson right there, that 3rd car on back there in the In-N-Out Burger right there. He's like, how close do I get to this battle? If each one of these guys race each other hard, take each other out, am I going to be collected? And they are racing each other very hard, very closely, as we are coming into the front portion of the racetrack here as we're coming through the bus stop chicane. A lot of weaving back and forth trying to find a position to get a pass on as they're coming through one of the fastest portions of the track right now, getting to slow down into the chicane before hitting the home straight.
Looks to me like Ledesma trying to take a page out of Nigel Mansell's playbook, trying to throw the dummy pass on Riccioli, but Riccioli holds on to the position, and Ledesma now has a peek to the inside, and La Source not quite enough there, but Ledesma is definitely not going to give up this fight. Very strong racer is Angel Ledesma, as we've seen in the past. And I get the feeling with these two hard chargers going for it tonight, I think that this is going to be an enthralling battle. And Nick Johnston, playing the interested spectator, I wonder when he's going to be inserting himself into the situation.
Side by side going into the chicane at the top of the hill. Still side by side. And
Ledesma clears him,
pushes him off a little bit, but gives himself some room. And now
Here comes Johnston
looking to the inside. He's like, I'm going to be a part of this, coming into 8.
Not quite enough to get alongside.
Now here comes sorry not to cut you off. Here comes Dory's teammate right behind Johnston with Principal Dan there. So how much is Johnston going to be able to attack when he's going to be attacked equally as hard by Principal Dan in that next car back? And I'm sorry, if you don't know why I call him Principal Dan, he is a headmaster at a school in the Monza area. He's not too far from the Monza racetrack itself, so that's kind of a nickname I've given him. It's stuck. It's a hearted nickname because my mom was a school teacher as well. So anybody that is a school teacher, especially the elementary level, or any time to get to educate kids, it's often a job that's not highly appreciated, but well sought after. So props on him. And he has to get up here in a couple hours to go to school here soon. He's over in Italy. Here comes Johnson.
I guess it beats a hard night of grading papers, doesn't it? But Piazza and looking to insert himself in the situation. Principal Dan, he's catching up to these guys. These two are battling each other pretty hard. I think Ricciuti with
look at that right there at the end of the. I'm sorry, I missed it. If whatever happened at the turn, we just see Mitch Welker now moving himself up to 10th, and he is in the picture now, at the very far end of the picture. But he's in the picture now with these leaders.
Very methodically done. We're only on lap 5, and bear in mind here, Welker started on pit road in just outside the top 30, and already on lap 5 up to P10. What an amazing drive so far by Mitch Welker.
Oh, he was going to try to put his car there, but once he put it there, what's he going to do with it? And he backs out. They are now working their way down into corner number 8 and 9 here at the bottom of the hill, going downhill now.
Ooh, a little bit of a lockup I saw there. That may have been from Ledesma up in front, but Ricciuti holding him up here as Nick Johnson is trying everywhere to find a place to get his car alongside that number 14 machine. But Piazza looking and relishing the chance. There's no doubt in my mind, especially given his teammates in front of him. This is going to be an interesting effort to try and get his teammate up a place and then make a combined effort on Ledesma, I would think.
Looks like my good friend Robert Sadler is already out. He's already reporting in chat that he might have got dive bombed by somebody. So unfortunately, we have a number of cars out, including Caleb Bency. Byron Daly is also out. We haven't reported on a lot of the back of the field who had issues, but Jose Carrera is in 35th, showing 35th. We're showing Armando Edwards currently still working on the racetrack. I think he's in pit road. Yeah, he's still on pit road, but I think his day's done. He's back in 34th. Byron Daly is 33rd. Caleb Bency now 32nd. His day done. That's going to impact the points championship. We'll look at that here in a minute. Logan Spath, we saw him in the turn 1 incident in 31st. Victor Aldrich 30th. Michael DeTurk in 29th. Robert Sadler 28th. Here's a car on pit road, and that is Mitch Welker on pit road right now for a scheduled stop, probably to get off those reds. Dan Miglin is now 27th. Bruno Miranda currently showing the last car on the lead lap, and he is currently in 26th. So Mitch Welker down and away. He is on the prime tire coming out of the pits, and he has worked his way now back to 21st position. So he is hoping that pit stops happen here soon so he can bypass a lot of these guys. I think this is going to be his long stint coming up here.
And I think the way it's looking on strategy-wise, we've yet to really touch on that subject, but I think I ran the numbers wrong when I was looking at things early on in the race. It will likely be a 2-stopper, a very short run on reds, and a lot of these guys will be sticking on blacks. That's why you see a lot of them, pretty much all of the front runners: Echevarria, Ledesma, Ricciuti, Johnson, Piazza, Sykes. They're pretty much all running on hards. And this is going to be a couple of long stints until they either run a short middle stint or a short final stint on the reds. Of course, we have to make a compound swap, so these guys have to run the reds at some point, and with the tire fall off the way it is, they're going to be wanting to run on them as little as they reasonably can. They want good pace out of them first and foremost.
Yeah, Cody Claiborne currently showing first in class, and when I say first in class, he's the lead car on those red tires. He is a 9th spot at the moment, but those tires are probably done. I'd imagine he's probably going to be making a pit stop here relatively soon. And he is. He's making his turn on the pit road right now.
End of lap 6 for Cody Claiborne, the first of the red runners.
Cody definitely making sure he got to the pit road speed limit before hitting those cones. Finding his spot there. No
sense risking a penalty.
No.
Up on the jacks, and the hard tires will go on the number 31. Down and away. And Victor Aldrich, I'm reading, has just disconnected. He is out of the race as well. Sad to see that for the number 98.
Yeah, currently classified in 30th position. Back up to the front. Here is our leader. He is led from the get-go.
Echevarria has a 5.5-second lead over Angel Ledesma. Looking at lap times, his last lap was 4/10 up on Ledesma, a 59 even to Ledesma's 59.4, and Ricciuti's 59.4, and Johnston's 59.4. So all pretty much running in lockstep behind him, but it's still 4/10 down on what our leader's been doing. He is just putting on a, I guess I could say Welker-esque drive he's putting on here tonight, as we've seen from Mitch Welker in previous races. But that's not to say Welker's putting on a great drive himself, because he is. Again, he was one of the first drivers to come onto pit road. Currently scored in 21st position, but of course the majority of the cars in front of him, with the exception of Cody Claiborne, they all have yet to pit.
Here is your purple lap holder at the moment. Here is Dory. He is a 158.392, and we got a battle for position with Nick Johnson on the outside. Pulls it off. Johnson up to third.
From the outside. Oh,
Dory around.
Ricciuti into the grass. Gathers it up, though. Still going, but he's lost a few positions on that one. That is a podium spot thrown in the bin, it looks like. Ricciuti's got to drive hard to catch up now. But move Johnson up to P3. Piazza and Sykes have all gotten by that number 14 machine with that error.
And there's a battle for position immediately behind him between Frankie Francica and Matthew Short. Francica looks like has the position, pulls it off. That moves Francica up to 7th.
Just before they get to the beautiful Eau Rouge and Radillon section of this track, easily the most famous section of Spa-Francorchamps, that uphill right-handed.
This is the portion they've just recently changed. This is the not reflected in the sim, correct?
This one, I believe they have made a few runoff changes. Yes, they did. Just recently, actually. Yeah. This scan of Spa-Francorchamps has been around for quite a while. Of course, they've changed it in terms of how it works within the iRacing simulation, so that is not utterly brutal with off tracks like it used to be. Because there was a time where Spa-Francorchamps was the track where you go to lose safety rating every single time. But now, thankfully, they have adjusted it so it's at least tolerable, and you can get out there with maybe losing a tiny bit of SR.
So that battle between Short and Francica has settled down for a bit for 7th. We move back up to the leader. He has a 5-second lead over Ledesma. Ledesma a little bit further on back. He hasn't outrun the guys behind him. He has about a second lead over Johnston, and Johnston is going to eat up some space here in this braking zone. Watch this come down. Watch that time come down. Look at it. Johnston. 9/10, 8/10.
making up a lot of time there, and he's bringing Piazza with him.
Yeah, Piazza's probably a little upset for his teammate right now, so he's driving really hard. Dory actually is not bad. I mean, he only lost a couple of spots there. You see him right there. But right now, holding down the 5th spot, he's running down Simon Sykes. He is in the AJ Foyt Rocket livery. Currently runs in the NTT IndyCar Series every now and then. And again, well, I understand they don't do it anymore because they haven't paid their bill. But he is running it nevertheless tonight in the number 84, which is a Foyt number. So this might be a possible AJ Foyt fan on our hands here.
And a great job so far by Sykes. He started 5th, currently running 5th. And if I'm not mistaken, this is his first start in the series.
This is his first start in the series, correct.
Fantastic top 5 effort by Simon Sykes. Definitely someone to keep an eye out for, I would say. But Ledesma still holding on to P2 there. Johnston clawed himself up to within a second of him on that last lap. Piazza about half a second back of Johnston in this battle for second.
Okay, so when are we looking at pit stops for these guys who haven't stopped already to change tires? When do we expect these guys to pull in?
If my numbers serve me correct, the longest I can think of would be about lap 13 thereabouts.
Okay.
And going off of numbers in the Lionheart series, which of course they run smaller fuel cells there, about 15 gallons as opposed to 18 and a half, but this track, with its fast nature and how big it is, it eats up fuel like nobody's business. It's gonna be quite.
So it's
right
about
now I'm hearing
13
Christian
laps?
Jasper.
Oh, Christian Jasper
is going to be coming on the pit road this lap. He's running on reds. He's stuck with them until lap 9 at this point. His lap time is down to a 2:01.7 on that last
and he's
lap.
got Jake Kitts right on his 6 at the moment. So here he comes, pulling in the pit road. So you said about 13 laps. That makes about sense because this is a place a little bit bigger than Road America, right? So Road America is often compared to this place a lot. I think that has a lot to do about running through the trees and not much more about anything else. But they do share about a similar length. And it's about 14 laps at Road America, is it right? About 14 laps at Road America on a tank. So that seems about right. Doing 13 here.
Yeah, Road America, of course, 4 miles. Spa-Francorchamps, 4.3 miles, just slightly bigger. And naturally, it's going to be fewer laps to run on the tank. So my estimation would be about lap 13 these guys would be able to run. And Echevarria extending that lead to 6.2 seconds. His last lap was a 58.9. Ledesma a 59 even. But look at Johnston, a 58.8. Johnston actually was faster than both of them on that last lap. And catching up to the back of Ledesma at a pretty respectable pace. That In-N-Out Burger machine is looking very strong tonight.
There it is. If you're just joining us, this is RaceVerse coverage of the Formula Indy Series coming to you from Spa, where we've completed about a third of the way, 10 of 29 laps. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Johnston looking to me like as they come across the line, it looks like a little bit closer this time. About 7/10 the gap between Ledesma and Johnston. Johnston is catching him, and I could think that a little bit of a twitch there from Ledesma on exit of La Source as they head down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radillon. But there's no doubt in my mind, especially on the straight here, Johnston will close up. He'll close up here down the Kemmel Straight. And it looks like he's catching him.
Boy, does he. Wow. Desmond uses every inch of those rumble strips to make his turn in.
Yeah, you can make that work here on these curbs. They're not going to be utterly brutal, and they don't have the infamous sausage curbs that you see at a bunch of other tracks. So you can make those curbs work in your favor. Car placement, of course, is everything when you do that. And Ledesma certainly doing his all to hold off Johnston.
Well, let's set the field here just before we get to pit stop so everyone gets a chance to see where their favorites are running. If you do have a favorite, make sure to shout it out in chat. We'll show them all on camera here. Ricardo Echeverria is your leader by about 6 seconds here on lap 11. Has led the entire way. Angel Ledesma, he is under attack right now by Nick Johnson, who is the FIS points leader. We will show you the points here momentarily as we get done with pit stops. This is P2, battle for P2, excuse me. Back and forth, making their series debut this season is the Old Dogs, and it's led by Principal Dan, who was one of the finished on the podium for the series. Oh, we got a battle for the lead
here.
Here
comes Johnston looking to the outside in the bus stop. Not quite enough, though. Ledesma holds down to that inside line. Johnston trying to get the launch out of the bus stop now, down the front straightaway. And you don't need me to tell you the gap. He is right there.
We'll stick with this just a little bit longer. We'll go back to Principal Dan. Dan was finished in the top 3 of the series 2 seasons ago when the series was won by Nate Seifert. Of course, Nate Seifert not in the lineup today.
Meanwhile, up through Radion and onto the Kemmel straight again. Here comes Johnston. He's in the toe. Look to the inside now into Lake Holm.
He's on the button, too. We're in the in-car right now. Was at top of the hill, into the braking zone. Hits those rumble strips. Gets through, maintains the lead, and we now have a new P2.
Gets the job done. Nick Johnston up to second. Fantastic drivers. Ledesma deep on the brakes there, trying to keep him honest. And he's trying to get a bit of a launch in the middle of the corner there. Johnston kind of backing him up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it looks like each one definitely has a bit of a different strategy going into the corners. Looks like Nick, in comparison to Angel, Nick is a little bit, I'm going to slow in and fast off. And Angel is like, man, I'm going to send it and I'm going to be slow off. That's kind of the difference between the two, because you can see right here under braking how the gap gets bigger and smaller under braking and acceleration there.
Exactly, and Nick Johnston focusing so much on that corner exit.
Oh. Nick almost getting the wheels off into the kitty litter there, keeps it off.
Running shot as Echevarria is on pit road. Our leader is in, and Ledesma is in as well. Johnston stays out, and so does Principal Dan.
Yeah, and I don't know how this is gonna. I gotta think that the over is the way to go here. These guys with new tires are just going to probably make time up on these guys with older tires, but we shall see. Gary is not a road course racer, so he could be wrong.
Echevarria down and away he goes. Ledesma, kind of a slow stop here for Ledesma. It looks slow to me in any case, but he is down and away as well.
Yeah, Ledesma in the box for 10 seconds. Echevarria in the box for 10.5. By comparison, Mitch Welker, who did a short stop, he was only in the box for 7.1. So right now already Mitch Welker's made up 3 seconds on 2 of the leaders.
Here comes Welker. He's actually picked up Ledesma. He's going to try and take him around the outside into Lake Holm. And he does get it done.
And
Mitch Welker does get by him.
That is with old prime tires. So let's see if he can hold off Ledesma, who's on the new set of prime tires.
And Welker, I would think, is again a bit of a lockup there by Welker, and looked again like you were saying that Ledesma is focusing a lot on corner entry to make up the time. But that's it comes so close to punting the guy in front of you every time.
Yeah, and for instance, if he were behind me, he probably would have punted me, because I'm a bit of an early breaker when it comes to these corners. The old strategy of slow in but fast off. He probably would not like to be behind me. So.
Meanwhile, looking at Johnston into the bus stop. Does he come in this time? I would think yes, he does. He does come in, so does Piazza. But then this battle between Ledesma and Welker. Ledesma on the fresh tires. He's having a peek to the inside at Blanchimont. Not exactly a place where I want to stick my nose in. 170 miles an hour you're going through there in these cars.
making a wide turn, using every bit. And I noticed Ledesma's on a good number of. Ooh, he's got a run on Welker here. So we'll see what happens when he get to corner number 1. Ooh, a little bit of a herk jerk there.
Having a little bit of a wiggle there, maybe trying to throw a dummy.
Johnson.
Here comes Johnston. Comes out right next to Ledesma and Welker. Welker side by side with him through Eau Rouge. Always a risky move there, but they make it single file. Welker gets through.
Welker looks like he put his trust in the Welker and just says, I'm going to get behind you, and decided to follow Welker on through, so to speak, and Ledesma kind of got held up. Ledesma now looking for the pass on the outside at the top of the hill. Just sends it. He just sends it.
Just squeezes right by him, does Ledesma. Moves up around Johnston once again. Ledesma on warm tires, but now he's still got the old tire runner of Mitch Welker to deal with, and Welker, not exactly the easiest guy to pass.
No. So let's reset the field here as we're going through pit stops at the moment. We'll try to do this a little bit earlier. Echeverria is your leader after the pit stops. So Mr. Welker, who stopped earlier on a strategy to get on the Reds early and get off them early, he currently is in P2. Angel Ledesma is in P3. Nick Johnston is in P4. Principal Dan right here, he's in P5. So all these guys are right together. So we're seeing some pretty good racing when it comes to road course racing. And actually, we were blessed this week here in the NTT IndyCar Series with how close of race, even though there are a lot of yellows there at Nashville, and the fact that it was the closest road course or street course finish of all time there at Nashville. So like to see close finishes and close racing, and you're seeing a lot of that here at Spa. Simon Sykes a little bit back behind this crew, but he's here in 6th. Matthew Short very quietly having a great race up in the top 10, currently in 7th. Cody Claiborne under attack right now by Cristobal Valenzuela and the backfired crew. And Cristobal is going to get that position to move him up to 8th. Cody Claiborne very quietly having a good top 10 run here, currently in 9th. Frankie Franchita, he is currently in 10th, and he is looking to run down the fish car of Cody right there going in the corner number 1. And that is your top 10 at the moment. Your other big movers, Dakota the Maid right here from 12th, up 13 spots. We got a battle back here between
Johnston side by side with Ledesma
get back up front
through Lake Combe. He does get him around the outside there in the middle of the chicane.
Yeah, now they're moving down to corner number 9, 8 and 9.
And Ricciuti is out of the race. Doriano Ricciuti, who is up on a podium position until an error, he is out of the race, it seems.
Yeah, we did not see what happened to him. Must have happened after pit stops, and I'm going to guess it happened on cold tires. If you want to take a look and see what happened, just to confirm that might be helpful to let everyone know. Let's kind of reset. We had 35.
It was after he pitted, but it was not cold tires. It was contact with the 35.
35. So the 35, Matthew Short.
That was Matthew Short who got into him. And that was just after Ricciuti came off of pit road. It looked like it was netcode contact, no doubt about that, but it put Ricciuti into the wall, and that is sadly game, set, and match for a really strong runner early on in the going. So sad to see that.
And that relegates him back to 25th. So we started with 35. We're down to 24. Drew White is the last car on the lead lap. There is Drew right there. Bruno Miranda, not having a great day. He kind of got caught up in that fracas there at the turn 1, lap 1. But he's just running out his laps. He needs to because he's involved in the points championship. Cody Claiborne getting around Franchica, and now he's side by side with Cristobal Valenzuela going into 1. Takes a very low line through there. Turn 1 kind of has a dip there in the middle at the apex, almost like a drainage area.
Indeed it does, and it's where you ideally want to be, but it can be really unsettling at times, especially when you feel like you're going to hit that wall there on the inside of La Source, but it can be a very tight entry.
Got Zach Reardon in the pits. I just saw him falling through this. I was wondering what was happened, but he is just making a scheduled stop. There is Drew White. Joshua Tucker currently showing on the racetrack here in 21st. Liam Quinn, seeing him back in a not so expected 20th spot. Again, got caught up in that turn 1 incident. Matt Houston currently in 19th. He's up 5 spots. Christian Jasper, we saw him make a pit stop not too long ago. He is up 13 spots, up to 18th. Jake Kitts, right in front of him. He is up 15 spots to P17. Jordan Erickson worked his way up 7 spots to P16 in a battle with AJ Digby in his first race of the season. Doug Mullins, looks like Doug Mullins and Digby are teammates. It might have also been teammates with Byron Daly. They look like they are all 3 in the same livery. If that's the case, that's a good-looking team there. That's Mullins in 14th. Other guys we haven't shouted out yet, Pedro Quiones, right there, and another one of the TP cars. And that's TPRT. That's TPRT is a team name there, their initials. He is currently 12th. Another one of the TPRT cars right in front of him, Jose Ramirez, started from the pits, worked his way up to 11th.
Dakota DeMay behind him actually cut the second part of the bus stop chicane there.
Yep.
No doubt he's going to get a slowdown penalty for that, and that'll cost him time.
Yeah, you kind of see him slowing down there as he's going into 1. And that's going to allow Mullins and Digby, teammates behind him, to kind of run him down. Of course, Dakota running solo without a teammate today. Gavin Sanders now with us. So we'll take a look here at the points here. This is going to shake up everything here in the FIS. Let's bring up the points really quick. Here is what happened on the last race. Of course, last race was Mitch Welker. And unfortunately, we saw that really good strategy by Christopher Hill on do the one stopper. And he was making it work, and then there was an incident there. That's the kind of what marred the event, but Welker won. And unfortunately, Welker got the penalty for that after review and started him from the pits, but not hurting Welker at the moment, who's up there working his way up to P2. Just made him have to work a little bit harder. The point situation, we'll bring that up here real quick, is Mitch Welker is your leader, and with Marino Miranda in second with 89 points, struggling at the moment. Nicholas Johnson up in the podium position in third. I think we'll see a move here between P2 and P3. Hector Alvarez not in the lineup. Gavin Sanders not in the lineup. Christopher Hill not in the lineup. So Liam Quinn might actually make up a little room on these guys in front of him, even though Liam Quinn is not having a great day. Matthew Short having a great day. He might actually move up quite a bit here on everybody in front of him because he is currently showing in the top 10 in P7 at the moment. Michael DeTurk, unfortunately, out. He's in the top 10, currently 9th. And Rodrigo Munoz, who's not in the lineup, I believe. So some of these other guys, like Caleb Bency, will make up a little room. But again, he struggled with a turn 1 incident. Jeff Groff will do well today. He's in the lineup at the moment. Nate Seifkert's not in the lineup. Cristobal Valenzuela is racing hard. Ramirez racing hard. Ledesma right up here in the third position. He's going to gain a ton of spots probably. Quiones going to gain some positions. Franchitta's going to gain some positions. And sadly, Robert Sadler might still be there on the first page, but probably not going to move very many positions because of his early incident in this race. So the point situation, even though we're into the fourth round, is going to be very fluid after tonight.
No doubt about that, especially with everything that's happened. And Mitch Welker, by the way, he's come on to pit road for his final stop, coming out right behind, trying to make
Cristobal Valenzuela and Frankie Franchitta.
And
He ran up on Franchitta really quick, and he had to double check that one to the inside of Frankie. Frankie should just let him go. Frankie, you might want to let him go, buddy. Oh!
Some contact there. Franchitta defending hard against Welker, but Welker just the faster car at this point. And here's something a little possibly ominous here. Welker was nearly 8 tenths faster than Echevarria on his last lap before he came on to pit road. This is his final stop, by the way. He already started the race on reds, and we'll see what he can pull out of this. But Echevarria and Johnston, Ledesma, Principal Dan Piazza, they all need to pit again.
Yeah. So he is currently, what is his gap to the leaders?
Oh, here comes Valenzuela and Franchicha side by side, but Franchicha holds off Valenzuela down the front straightaway. But move Welker up to P7 after starting outside the top 30.
So
what a drive.
Welker is 26 seconds back, and your pit road delta is 29 seconds. So if Echevarria cannot pull away,
it would be, but let's not forget what Echevarria is going to be changing tires to. He's going to be changing the reds.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be the new leader. I'm not going to say this is your winner. This is your new leader, as the way it works. Looks like, yeah. So let's keep watching this. We got, believe it or not, this is we got 10 laps to go.
And long laps here at Spa-Francorchamps. But this is a track where you want the race to go longer. Spa-Francorchamps is always a joy to drive. Not only is the setting beautiful in the spectacular Ardennes forest of Wallonia in southern Belgium, but also in the high speeds, the fast-flowing nature of the track. It's a driver's delight. It's also a racer's delight. Not only is the driving a lot of fun here at Spa, racing here is absolutely phenomenal. That's why many say that this is the best racetrack in Europe, and many would argue the best racetrack in the world.
Race sponsorship is by, well, they're talking about Shane and his spa vacation here, but Midwest Kidney Warriors are our sponsors of today's race. Midwest Kidney Warriors is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates life for those battling kidney disease. They have several kidney warriors needing a life-saving transplant. Many require a living donor, so visit their website today for more information, MidwestKidneyWarriors.com, or visit their group page on Facebook. That's MidwestKidneyWarriors.com or on Facebook. I want to thank them again for being a gracious sponsor for yet another one of our races. We have 2 weeks off before we go to our next race. Next race will be at Legacy Silverstone. We'll be throwing back to Formula One days of 2008 and before, where everyone will have a throwback livery. I've seen a number of them already. Hey, listen, if you're a participant and you need a livery, I have one that you can borrow. Just hit me up.
Yeah, don't hesitate to do so. There, and I know Dakota DeMay can make a killer, and can make a really killer paint job when you ask him to.
Yeah, speak of the devil, there he is. He's made his last stop, and he is back in 20th. Still up 5 spots from where he started. Liam Quinn hot on his tail, on the button at the moment, at the top of the hill.
And I'm looking once more at the battle on for right now P2. Johnston and Ledesma still. They're about a second apart from each other on the last lap, as we're going to be starting lap 21 here out of 29. And Ledesma, I think, could well be closing up a little bit on that number 28 machine.
Nope, he got a little squirrely off of.
Oh, he did.
Off the coming out of the chicane there at 19, so it's going to cost him some time. That's what doing some lockups coming into turn 1.
You definitely don't want that. You don't want the car getting away from you like this, especially later on in the going. The gap was about a second at the line this time. Still within draft range, but he's going to have to work all the harder for it.
9 laps to go here at Spa. This is round...
AJ Digby coming on the pit road as well for his last stop.
There he is. If your name is AJ, you got to be a race car driver. There's just no other way. Just no other... Exactly. There's just no other profession for you. None.
Yeah, it's just the name for a race car driver.
Right, AJ, you know, it's just indicative of a race car driver. You see AJ Foyt, of course, And then we have in our own ranks, we have a good friend of the program, Musselman, AJ Musselman. Just if you got an AJ in your name, you got to be a race car driver.
Yeah. And a lot of them have, and I will say another common name I see for race car drivers is Roberto Guerrero, Roberto Moreno. A lot of drivers named Roberto, especially way back in the day.
Yeah.
Then again, I could probably name a lot of names that just sound like race car driver names because so many of them had the name, and of course I gotta throw the name Mario in there as well. Because I mean, why leave Mario Andretti hanging?
Well, either if your name's Mario, you're either a race car driver or a plumber.
Yeah, a plumber that loves to go on adventures in the land of mushrooms to save a princess from a monster.
In your Mario Kart, yeah. So here, while we got time,
racing afterwards, so that makes even more sense.
So while we have time, and we're watching, waiting for the leaders to pit here. Another red flag incident in the NTT IndyCar Series this weekend. I tell you what, they're great for TV, but I am not a fan. If there was something wrong on the track that needed to be fixed, by all means, let's red flag this thing. But to generate a closer finish, I'm against it over and over and over again. Just call me old school or something, but or a cranky old man. I am not for these red flags. As soon as they put the red flag out, I wasn't even really rooting for Dix. But as soon as they put the red flag out, I was like, I want Scott to win. I want Scott to win, because I don't know how you could take it away from the guy. Even though he had a bit of a weird race like Ericsson the year before, but why do you have to red flag the race to make it, to try to give someone a chance to take it away from the guy? I don't know.
I definitely get the argument on that one, and I remember you saying that after Indianapolis, where Marcus Ericsson was almost robbed of the win. Almost being the key word there. He was able to hold them off to an Indy 500 win. Congrats once again to Marcus on that one. But yeah, it's always that's always going to be a contentious thing, especially among the old school and the guys that would say, well, we got to see a green flag finish, and I'd rather see that as opposed to just the race ending under yellow and becoming an anticlimax. But like I see the arguments of both, and like I'm willing to say it depends on the circumstance, in my humble opinion. Like I may be a fence-sitting Nancy boy on that one, but to me it depends. To me it definitely depends. Like, and especially like if, as you said, if there's like a problem with the circuit itself, if the track was damaged in some way, that's definitely understandable. But
that is a safety issue right there.
Yeah,
but
that's safety.
You race to. You race to a certain distance, right? You race to an advertised distance, and unfortunately, if something happens that brings that distance under caution at the end, hey man, tell the drivers to drive more careful. I don't know, and that's the whole other thing. After that particular race, those guys at the end of that race, they were just sending it. I mean, just everybody was sending it. Newgarden was sending it, and then he was like the perfect wrestling heel after the race on Twitter. I mean, he was just telling everybody to bring it. You know, it was hilarious. But I feel that if you have a race that's 50 laps, it should finish at 50 laps, and if it finishes under caution, that's racing. And what do you come to watch? You come to watch racing, and that's part of racing. And I just don't the red flags for TV and everything. I mean, let NASCAR do that crap. I prefer IndyCar to be a little bit more pure. And the funny thing is, it's on top of that. I was listening to, and a lot of people don't like David Land and everything, but he was talking today in his video blog about I think it's Black Flags Matter, quoted and tweeted that the IndyCar championship is more valid and more prestigious. And I could be quoting it exactly the wrong words, but basically it's more substantial than the NASCAR championship this year, because there's like 6 drivers have a chance, 7 drivers I think, because they keep forgetting about Pato O'Ward's 1 point behind P6. Just because he's 1 point behind doesn't mean he's out of it, unless he is mathematically. But still, Pato's only 1 point behind. We got Ledesma making his stop on the pit road right here. But then there's like several in NASCAR that are in the top 10 that don't have a win. that if they don't get a win, or if there's enough wins of drivers that aren't in the top 10, they could be bumped from the playoffs. And I'm like, well, that's NASCAR's fault for doing a stupid gimmick. Because, the whole playoff thing is stupid, because it came up because of, what was it, Kevin, no, not Kevin, who was it that only won one race one year, and everyone was upset about it? So what?
I think it was Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth, that's right. So what if he wins one race?
I mean, he was the best driver all season.
Yeah, he was the best driver all season.
Championship.
I say it again and again and again when people talk about, Ledesma cuts the Shane big time at the top of the hill. That's got to cost him.
No penalty there, but
wow.
he is now behind Mitch Welker right now. But of course, Ledesma has got the fresh rubber underneath him, and even though it looks to be a hard compound again, the glitch is happening. That is definitely a soft tire that he's running.
He is on
He is
revs
going to
and
be
timing
lightning
scoring
fast for these final few laps.
And he's already there, and we already know that how he sends it into the corners.
And this can also be a pivotal lap for Ledesma in a battle with Johnston. Johnston stayed out for one more lap on the hard tire. So if Ledesma can get this pass working, and if he can lay down a belter of a lap, he could possibly be able to jump Johnston while he is out for another lap. As I'm looking at Johnston, he is coming up through Blanchimont now. Meanwhile,
and you said it before on Walker, it's one thing's catching him, the other thing's passing him.
Yes.
He's going to make his car super wide.
Here he comes. He's going to look to the inside at Blanchimont, and I think Welker, he realized to give up the ghost there, but Welker.
Nope, he's going to look to
no
the
doubt
inside.
in my mind that he's probably going to be able to stay with him. He has good pace still, even on hard tires. So I would think as Ledesma's tires wear off in the final 5 laps of this race.
Echevarria coming out of the pits.
Echevarria coming out.
Hopefully he didn't have a speeding penalty, because he kicked it sideways coming out of the pits before he got to the cone.
No penalty being showed, so he looks like he's clean and green to go here. But Echevarria, the dominant car of the day, holding on to the lead, and now he's on the fastest rubber he can run.
So going back to Matt Kenseth's only winning one race, I mean, you got to be the most consistent. I mean, right now your points leader in this. Welker, look again. Right now your points leader in this series is Welker.
Outside at Lake Combe, and not quite enough to get alongside him and stay side by side, but Welker is not giving this up yet, and that's another thing to consider as well.
Yeah.
Welker may be on hard tires, but the hard tires are actually faster on the straight. They have less rolling resistance than the softs.
Yep, and there's a lot of straights here. So Welker is your points leader here because he's won races. But even if Welker doesn't win races and he generates a lot of top 10s and top 5s and especially a lot of podiums, he would probably still be the points leader here. And I go back to 1978 and the USAC National Championship over and over again. That's when Tom Sneva won the national championship. And the best finish he had all season was the second place. So, again, I don't think IndyCar needs playoffs. And do I think the IndyCar Championship is more prestigious than the NASCAR Championship? I'm biased. I always think the IndyCar Championship is more prestigious than the NASCAR Championship.
And there's another point to consider there as well. If you look in the NASCAR Truck Series a couple of years ago, Matt Crafton won the championship in the playoff format, completely winless. So
there you go.
Doesn't exactly do the job that it was supposed to do as effectively as they wanted it to.
No, exactly. And if you go look at the, we can take a look at Johnson here, still leading. If we go back in that, go ahead.
Yeah, Johnston's still staying out for one more lap. It looks like he's been fuel saving a good bit, still running decent laps in the high 59s.
Can he maybe go without the second stop?
Piazza is in. Simon Sykes also in as well. I think Sykes actually missed his pit stall there. He had to back up a little bit. Putting on fresh reds and down and away.
So Johnson is your leader. Echevarria is P2. So back in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, the IndyCar, there was by far and away the USAC National Championship and the CART National Championship was the most prestigious championship between IndyCar and NASCAR. It really wasn't until the split happened that kind of ruined everything for IndyCar. That really made everything more NASCAR-centric, and it's kind of led to the world that we're in today. But IndyCar making a bit of a comeback.
No doubt about that. IndyCar has been on a roll lately, getting a lot more attention in the motorsports community, as it deservedly should. And it's great that not only is that the case in the real world, it's also that case here in the virtual world. The IndyCar seems to be generating a fair amount of popularity. It's not quite the same as, of course, the NASCAR stuff, but when it comes to open wheelers, high-level open wheelers to be certain, the IndyCars always put on a great show. A lot of drivers love running them. They're easy to understand, but difficult to master in many ways. And, of course, the diversity of tracks that these cars run on, that, in my opinion, makes it one of the most...
And here's a pit stop.
One of the most amazing forms of racing out there. And Johnston coming on the pit road. It'll be 3 laps to go for him. 3 laps on soft tires. Probably able to keep that pace.
He's got there's a purple lap coming right here. I'm almost sure of it.
57.2 for Echevarria.
Echevarria gets the lead. He is now your leader. Ledesma coming into the chicane. He is not going. He actually goes past. Johnson. Johnson is out.
They do get by Johnston here. Coming down through Eau Rouge and up the hill through Radion. I know a lot of people love to say the uphill is Eau Rouge. That's what they commonly think it is. It isn't. It's the left-hander before the uphill. The uphill bit is called Radion. Meanwhile, down the Kemmel Straight, Welker is still within his wheel tracks, and Ledesma was actually about half a second slower than Welker on that last lap.
And I would watch, I don't know if it's going to be this lap, but the next lap, Nick Johnson's time. And we haven't really shown this stat too much, but we will do that right here. Whoop, there we go. Echevarria is purple at the moment with the 157.2. I'm going to bet Johnston is going to take that number and better it here on light tanks and red tires. I could be wrong.
He's certainly going to be going for it to catch up to Welker and Ledesma in front of him. He's only going to have 2.5 laps to do it from right now. Bruce Stavelot down the straightaway up towards Blanchimont. This used to be a part of the old road here when the circuit was first opened in the 1920s. This is the middle section of the course is from the 70s when the track was reconfigured.
Johnson
and it became
on push
a permanent
to pass. Venue. Yeah, on push to pass, sorry.
Johnston on the button into the bus stop. He is caught right up to Mitch Welker now.
Welker's caught up to Ledesma.
Back of Ledesma too. Coming to the line. That's an out lap, of course.
Well, now it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a fast lap now because he's kind of being held up a little bit. We'll see.
He is being held up by both.
Welker's on push to pass.
Ledesma.
Ledesma's on push to pass. We're going to drag race going uphill.
To the outside, side by side up the hill. Ledesma forced off. He's forced off at the top of the hill.
We got contact.
Welker saves it.
We got 3 wide coming into. What the heck's going on? 3 wide coming into the chicane. 2 and 3. This is not the parade lap of the 500.
Here comes Johnston around the outside of Lake Combe. He's got to stick it to the inside of Welker. He cleared Ledesma. He's still side by side. What a move here by Johnston on fresh rubber.
Sends it deep into 8 and 9.
Beautiful 2 for 1. Mika Hakkinen would be proud of that. What a move by Johnston up to P2. Welker scrambling for grip there. And now he's going to have to once again fend off Ledesma in the final lap and a half of this race. Echevarria is up to a 7-second lead. I don't think that I don't think it's nearly going to be enough for Johnson to catch him at this point.
Johnson's going to get there. What a move. And I tell you, Ledesma's got to be just seething because he with 3 to go, he hits the start-finish line in P2. And by the end of that lap and that exchange, he is now back to...
Ledesma's around! Ledesma's spun it coming out of Stavelot!
Oh, Principal Dan gets him by.
that was Principal Dan. That was Piazza that got by him there just by the skin of his teeth. But Ledesma, heartbreaking end to this race, it would seem, for Ledesma from P2 down to fifth as
and
it
he's
stands.
got Sykes right with him, so he's not out of this. And those tires, after spinning and everything and going through a hard race uphill, that last lap by, they got to be pretty hot, and Sykes is right there with them. Sykes on a red set of tires that are not as abused, let's put it that way.
Last lap of the race, and look at Ledesma getting squeamish there on acceleration. Those tires are well and truly knackered.
Sykes looking at possibly a top 5 in his debut. He is on the button at the moment. Going to take a look to the inside.
Move here to the outside. It's Brownie home.
Can't do it, and he's going to maybe give up because of time. We'll see what happens. Still has a couple laps to go. Ledesma did not make it easy
for that.
No, Ledesma did not make it easy. He's going to the inside at the top of the hill. Let's see what happens, and he gets the position.
Clears him, but runs a bit wide there on entry to Lake Home.
Ledesma's right there.
Look at how much these two are fighting this.
Oh, and he wisely jumps to the inside and gets down low, thinking that possibly he might get tapped under braking, and now he starts to pull away. Well, now we got our leader going through 14 and 15 by himself by 5 seconds. Johnson is trying to reel him in, and this is where Johnson might get the purple lap. He did a 1:58.4.
Johnston put up a valiant effort to stay up there. Welker with an amazing drive from 30th up to a podium spot. Amazing stuff. But it's Ricardo Echevarria from pole to win in his debut in the series. He gets the win at Spa-Francorchamps. And in very convincing fashion, no less. Welker may well have a challenge if he sticks around.
And Welker finishes third. He does a bit of a victory weave, I think rightfully so. Principal Dan in his re-debut here finishes fourth. And Simon Sykes, he's going to finish fifth. And if you didn't see under the lap, we keep the lap stats, Sykes got your purple lap right there towards the end with a 1:56.9.
Wow, amazing lap by Simon Sykes at the end of that race. And a fantastic performance for two rookies. Simon Sykes in his debut. Of course, Mitch Welker, technically a rookie in this series. Of course, no strangers to the IndyCars, and got 3 wins already, all the way up to P3 from the back of the field. And Ricardo Echevarria, in his series debut,
1 for 1.
puts in a fantastic drive. 1 for 1. It was the same held true for Welker until tonight.
Well, yeah, Welker unfortunately is batting 75% right now. So can he live with a 750 win percentage? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a stain on your record, I guess you could say. From a certain point of view.
Yeah, right. Where others are burning it down there for whatever reasons. But let's take a look at the final standings here from Spa. There you go, Ricardo Echevarria in his debut race gets the win. Nick Johnson doesn't let anything get too far away from him in this race or the championship P2. Mitch Welker with the climb of the year so far up to P3 after starting from the pits gets on the bottom step of the podium. Principal Dan and his re-debut, I guess, in the series after taking a portion of last season off P4. And Simon Sykes in his debut, a P5. Angel Ledesma, who we saw struggle a little bit last race, had a good race this one, and looks like a little bit late battles that wore out his tires, relegated him from what would have been a podium to a mid-top 10, but still a good finish nevertheless in P6. Matthew Short, tell you, he was there all day long. Very quiet other than possibly an incident with Dory, but still a P7 is a good P7. Jose Ramirez started from the pits, got himself up to P8. Pedro Quinones, P9. And Frankie Franchita, P10. That rounds out your top 10 there. Your top 15, Claiborne, Erickson, Valenzuela, Mullins, and Kitts. Some good finishes there for some guys that made their first races. DeMay, Tucker, Miranda, Houston, Jasper, your top 20. Quinn struggled after a first turn incident there that he got involved with. 20th or 21st, Drew White starting from the pits. 22nd, Reardon, Digby, and there is Dory right there in 25th. Rounding out your top 30, Groff, Miglin, DeTurk, Spath, Aldrich. And the remainder of the field, Sadler, Edwards, Bency, Daly, Carrera. And that's your 35-car field. Friedel, Donchak, Poteet, South, and Nicholson did not qualify. And this overlay is a massive hog.
Always a struggle.
Always a struggle. So let's take a look and see who is in.
It's like all three of them.
All three of them are there. Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and bring in Mitch here momentarily. All right. Bringing him on down. Mitch Welker in the booth. Unfortunately now a 750 win percentage. We were talking about that. Can you live with yourself?
I hope so. Yeah, I've booked an extra appointment with a therapist for this weekend. But no, I figured it was going to happen at some point. I didn't expect to maintain 100% win. Stuff was going to happen, and
right.
I made it happen last week, and I paid the piper. So. Yeah, we'll still take a podium, though, definitely.
Well, I mean, you started from the pits, and first talk about that, and then, you come around the corner and pit exit, and maybe off to your side, but certainly behind you, everything is just busting loose.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that. I was watching the smoke billow as I was pulling out of the pits. Like, okay, all right. And then I emerge, and I'm already at the tail of the field. So, that was nice to have, for sure.
Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, it's an amazing drive from the back of the grid all the way out to the front. You started, of course, on reds, and you ran the last two stints on blacks. Of course, it seemed like you were very, very confident in your pace tonight, and I would imagine that you would be battling with Echevarria throughout the night if you indeed did not get that penalty. But what is this? But the opening stint in particular, you made up a lot of time. You, of course, avoided the incident entirely in turn one. Like, I would say, what sort of was this sort of a game plan that you came up with on the fly, or was this something that was premeditated well in advance?
As far as tire strat?
Yeah,
definitely. I sat down with Mike before, and I ran through the race runs, and we had a quick conversation. We agreed that it would be best to start in the alternate compound and run the first few laps to try and bully our way through the field as much as not bully, but try and work our way through the field as much as we could.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, just we wanted to smack in the field while they were still bunched up, And
right.
I feel like they did a pretty good job of that. We were like top 10 by the time we pit on the blacks at lap 5, so that was definitely the call. Obviously we're in a more difficult position at the end of the race there, as far as trying to catch Ricardo, but. I think for where we were starting, that was probably the best strat we could have done there. And to pit off the reds, especially, and undercut onto the blacks was also a big help there, get some clean air.
Last question here before we let you go. That last battle with the 3-car battle between you, Johnston, and Ledesma got pretty tense at the top of the hill heading into the chicane there. Man, it looks like one or both of you, not specifically you, but of the 3 cars, I mean, it looked like at one point 2 of you were almost out of control.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. He had a poor exit out of 1, and I'd already hit the button, and I didn't want to give up the run, so I decided that I was going to go for it. It's kind of a low percentage move there, but I felt like I could do it I watched him driving, and I felt like he'd be the enough of caliber to be able to stay side by side with me and race well. And things ended up getting a little crazy. I think there was a net code involved, little bit of contact, but I'd have to look back at it for sure. And then that gets Nick involved as well. It was pretty wild, but I feel like it was a move I was gonna have to make if I wanted the podium.
Yeah,
and I committed to it. So that's all I can say.
Well, we're glad to see you on the podium again. We're going to extend your points lead over for most of the field a little bit. Any shout-outs anyone would like to say hi to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to the usual sponsors, Lazy Rocket, Open Medicine Foundation, LW Haugen. Thanks for being on the car. Thanks to Mike for coming out, being on the box, as always. And, yeah, that's about it. Thanks, guys.
Well, no problem, and congratulations on it is a P3 after 3 consecutive wins. So you got 2 weeks to recover, and now you're off to Silverstone, which I'm sure you'll be in contention there. So congratulations, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I love the bridge layout, so I'll be cooking there.
Okay.
Unless I get another pit start, we'll see.
Did you hit? Not. I don't think you hit anybody. We didn't see anybody.
I don't think I did. I didn't. Well, there was like minor contact at times, but I don't think it was bad.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Nah, yeah, I think you're good. I think you're good. All right, man. And and on your penalty, I don't necessarily agree with you. I got one in Lionheart that I don't necessarily agree with. You can't please the stewards all the time, but the best thing you can do is always prove the stewards wrong by giving a good finish, and that's what you did. So congratulations, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks. See you then.
And let's bring down Nick Johnston. Hey, Nick, got you in the booth. Man, we knew something was going to happen when you hit pit road and put on those red tires right there at the end. You didn't prove us wrong.
Yeah, pretty much my whole strategy from the get-go was to minimize my stint length on the red tires. After like 3 laps, the 4th lap, you really got a lot of degradation, and the car slowed down a lot. So I had a lot of fuel saving the first 2 stints to get that extra lap each stint, so I can only do 3 laps on the reds, and paid off.
I know from your point of view, because you were kind of behind it, but you capitalized on it. At the top of the hill coming into the chicane, they were fighting each other, and we're talking Ledesma and Welker pretty hard, and it allowed you to kind of be the man unseen and work your way through there. How'd you needle your way through that? Because those guys were battling pretty hard.
Well, I almost didn't. Coming up to the corner, I thought it was gonna be sketchy. I thought they were both just gonna clean each other out, so I was kind of lifting to stay behind that. And then when I realized they both lived, I got on the button to then try to force it 3 wide one way or another because they had a bad run. And Angel blocked every time. I used like 3 push-to-passes down that one straightaway, because every time I moved, he would move right in front of me. So I finally just kind of gave that up and followed Mitch through, and then just the grip of the red tires, I could just drive right by him. I was going to get by both of them regardless, just because the pace that the car had at that point in the race.
Yeah.
It was just, I wanted to get by and get done before anything crazy happened, and maybe potentially try to run down Ricardo, but I think that was all lost on lap 1 when I had to take that slowdown.
Yeah, talk about the slowdown. What happened there? Because we saw you, and we're wondering if you did have to do a slowdown. Otherwise, we were thinking that maybe you had some sort of client-side hardware issue. But what was the issue, and what was the cause of the slowdown?
It was just driver on the inside of me drove in a little bit too deep, was understeering. I could see that there was going to be contact, so I chose to live to fight another day and take the cut track penalty by going way too wide there in turn 1. So I had to give up a lot of time down the backstretch, and luckily I kind of fell into a gap right there in 4th. But I spent that entire first stint behind some of those guys that I probably had a little bit more pace than, but I really couldn't force the issue because I needed to save the fuel.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was a tough situation. I just kind of had to play the cards I was dealt and see what I could do with it.
So discretion is over valor in this time. So wise call, I think. Any questions there, Stephen?
Well, just an amazing bit of racing overall tonight. But you and Angel, until of course the very end of the race, you seem to be running in lockstep with each other a lot of the night tonight. Was the way it was racing here tonight, the draft seemed to be a bigger concern than it was on a bunch of other road courses. Was that the thing predominantly keeping you together throughout much of the race?
Yeah, as long as you can stay within about a second and 2/10, you could cut that gap in half down any one of the long straightaways. So as long as you can stay pretty close, you'd be able to stay within the range of that guy. So it was just kind of those things, like you could stay behind him, but if you think you get ahead, you think you could pull away, but maybe you're just dragging him to go faster as well. And after the first stint with Angel, we had to offset on tires and fuel loads, so there was points in the run where he'd be faster, but then I would get faster towards the end once my fuel load started to drop down, the tires started to come in more. So that's kind of what played into that.
Well, next up in 2 weeks is Silverstone. We trust you're going to be equally good there. Legacy Silverstone, that is. But before we let you go here and before we see you again in 2 weeks, of course, shout outs. Anybody want to say hi to?
Yeah, Silverstone will be really fun. First off, my beautiful girlfriend, Danielle. Thanks for watching, babe. You guys for putting on the broadcast. You guys do a great job and we really appreciate it. So these people could watch and enjoy it. The Formula Indy Series for putting this on, and the Midwest Kidney Warriors, and all my SKL boys who watch. We can go play some Counter-Strike now.
All right. So from turning left and right to going and fragging somebody. So congrats, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm much better at the driving thing. So have a great night.
All right. All right. Let's bring down our winner. Hey, Ricardo, got you in the booth here with Gary and Steven. 1 for 1 in the Formula Indy Series. Congratulations. It looks like you really didn't have much going on. You were just so far out in front of everybody. It was just making sure that you hit your pit strategy and continue to keep the car on the racetrack and not do any off tracks like a lot of people did.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I just started my race and the guys behind me just started battling all race, and I just try to keep my gap, trying to keep the tires under me, because I don't have that much experience with this car. It's kind of hard for me, but a win is a win, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure everybody behind you loves to hear the fact that you don't have a lot of experience with this car. But you did real well.
Ominous, I don't know what is.
That's true. If that's not ominous, we don't know what is for the remainder of the championship. Tell us about this. I think this is the first time we've had a member of your team here in the booth. Tell us a little bit about you and the rest of your team. What is your primary car series that you kind of drive, and what are your thoughts of the Formula in this Indy Series thus far?
Well, we are a bunch of Puerto Ricans that are gearheads, and we love racing. And we mainly do like the big endurance races of the year in iRacing, but we don't necessarily stick to one series. We just pick some series and we go at it. But now with the Formula Indy Series, this is like the most competitive one that we've raced at. It's really hard to just stay on the top 10. You just have to practice, get into time, put in the tire strats, because when we first started with the first race for ours in Imola, it was all over the place, everybody going out, and after that we said, okay, you have to practice, put in a bit of work, and we're gonna go at it. So we're pretty happy right now.
Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It seems like you've been doing a lot of good stuff so far, and overall, and compared to the stuff that you're used to driving, what would you say is the biggest thing you've had to adapt to when driving the Indy cars?
It's mostly there are any aids. You have to be on top of the tire strats. Sometimes the alternate tires work pretty well, then the primaries don't work, vice versa. And it's a whole data and all the stuff. but we're getting there. So I think before the next races, we're gonna be getting there to where Mitch and the other guys are at.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Most of you guys are pretty new to IndyCar, and you have yourself a sounds like a foundation of a team that could compete with the team talents and power slides of the world and other series. So I would say I would advise you to keep at it and don't leave this series, or excuse me, don't leave the car. We don't want you to leave the series either, but don't leave the car. I think you guys are building on to something special here. So we're very thrilled to have you in the Formula Indy, or the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series, I should say that. And you just drove a heck of a race today. I think you had 2 other team cars in the top 10. So that's a great race for you guys there too, just kind of covering all your bases. Next up is Legacy Silverstone. I don't suppose you've driven an Indy car at Legacy Silverstone, so if you have, what did you think of it? And if you haven't, when do you start practicing?
Well, I haven't raced driven the car in that track, but I guess we'll practice the day before and we'll do at it.
All right, but before we let you go, and a great win for you and your team, we'd like to let people have the microphone and give any shout-outs. Anybody that said they say hi to, sponsors, that type of thing, mom, dad, girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, husbands, whatever. Any shout-outs that you want to say, go right ahead. The microphone is all yours, sir.
Shout out to iRacing team, the best of the best. We're killing right now. Props to my cat Blue for the emotional support beside me.
Aww.
And yeah, we'll see you the next race.
We gotta love race cats. Race cats are awesome. So
one moment. To also my teammate Ledesma, he saved me. He battled all race with the from second to back. He saved me. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So Ledesma is one of your teammates. Okay, that's interesting. He didn't have a car that looked identical to the rest of your team, and we were wondering about that. But okay, that's good to know. So and a good shout out to him because he almost had a podium and just kind of lost there in the last couple laps when he got in some big time racing with P3 and or P4 and P5 when they finally caught him. So, but good race for you, great race for your team and your teammates there, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks at Silverstone.
Thank you. See you guys.
See ya. And don't you just hate that when they get on here and it's like, I just picked up the car on the track a week ago, and well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just maybe a little extra salt in the wound there, but there's no doubt in my mind that he will deserve that win. I
tell you, I would love to see these guys not just show up for Formula Indy Series, but I'd love to see them in other series that we broadcast, either the RIL on Wednesdays or Indy Fixed on Mondays. I would love to see more of these guys because I think I think their team is on to something big in terms of getting up there with the IAR teams and the team talents and the power slides and the NHR, your team, RaceVerse teams, IAR, you name it, the number of teams that are in this that run on run the IndyCar on this service. I think this TPRT team is on the verge of kind of becoming one of those here rather quickly. So I think they should stick with it. But that's into my editorial. Moving on to your final thoughts here at Spa. And then I want you to look forward here in 2 weeks to Legacy Silverstone.
Well, is it any wonder why a lot of the road ringers will say that Spa-Francorchamps is one of the best tracks in the world? I think we just saw it tonight. The racing here can be absolutely phenomenal, and the drivers tonight put on a great show. Of course, Echevarria, what can I say about that performance he put in? And the same with Mitch Welker as well. The sort of driving we saw tonight and the racing that they put on, it just goes to show how great the IndyCar can be, how fantastic Spa-Francorchamps is as a circuit, and really how good this series is. This has been a fantastic night, and Legacy Silverstone, it's a bit bumpier than a lot of people remember and think of the new Silverstone. So it's gonna be I personally prefer the old Silverstone over the new one, if I'm being completely honest with you. That the old Silverstone just does something a little bit different for you, and it feels more natural in some ways to me. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, the new Silverstone I like just well, but the old Silverstone just has a special place in my heart, and of course the racing there, Silverstone, a very fast and flowing track like Spa, of course, not quite as picturesque because instead of the middle of the Ardennes forest, we're on an old RAF air base from World War II. So kind of like Sebring in many regards. And Silverstone, of course, an absolute classic in of itself. There's always something special about a race at Silverstone, to say nothing of everyone who loves to go to Silverstone in real life. A lot of them Lewis Hamilton fans, I will say. That certainly makes sense. But Silverstone, of course, a very special track, and I think it can put on some very special races too. And with the series we've got so far this season, I think we're in for a show in 2 weeks.
I tell you what, and I think it was at the new version of Silverstone, though, not the Legacy, but when the Lionheart had their series race there, it seemed like everybody was racing hard every single lap. It was like a sprint lap or a sprint race. And I don't know if we'll see that here on the Legacy version, but it should be a good race nevertheless. And it's throwback weekend, so drivers will have their own special throwback liveries on from optional, of course, but from 2008 and earlier Formula One throwbacks. So we'll be seeing some different paint jobs out there. We'll be looking for it. But that's in 2 weeks. And that's it for tonight, folks. We want to thank everyone for watching. Once again, your podium from Shane's Midwest Kidney Warriors Spa Vacation Grand Prix is Ricardo Echevarria with his first win and first start. Nick Johnson keeping it close in the points, and Mitch Welker trying to extend the lead over everyone else except for Nick and Ricardo. They're the only ones that made up any ground on their points leader. But those will be the points leader, or the points championship will continue for another round at Silverstone. So join Steven and myself in 2 weeks as the series moves to Silverstone, and F1 throwback livery race weekend for round 5 of season 2 of 22 of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series. Start time's about 9 p.m. Eastern time. Ring the bell and mark your calendars now. That's next Tuesday, or that's Tuesday 2 weeks from now, to 9 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube at youtube.com/RaceVerse. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support RaceVerse with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more of RaceVerse iRacing programming. And you know me, man, or you know us, Steven, we have a lot of programming going on here, so definitely subscribe, hit the bell. But the best thing to do, you can help us. If you can't subscribe, or if you're already subscribed, definitely hit that thumbs up. So keep your browsers set here for the most in-depth knowledge on all of iRacing. RaceVerse, we are your IndyCar experts. We know what Indy means. So the Spa Grand Prix sponsorship paid for by Midwest Kidney Warriors. Midwest Kidney Warriors is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates life for those battling kidney disease. They have several kidney warriors needing a life-saving transplant and many who require a living donor. For more information, please visit their website at MidwestKidneyWarriors.com or stop by their group page on Facebook today. For business inquiries and learn more about RaceVerse and what we do, visit RaceVerse.com or follow all of us on Twitter. You can find all of our Twitter stuff right here. There's me, there's RaceVerse, and there's Steven. Make sure to add us. We'd appreciate that. So, for Steven Larkamp, everyone at RaceVerse, I'm Gary Gosselin saying all thanks for watching, and to all of our men and women in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Thanks again. Catch us again in 2 weeks at Silverstone for the next race of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series. Good night.